Have you ever glanced at a neighbor's balcony overflowing with fragrant herbs, plump tomatoes, and colorful blooms and wondered, why doesn't mine look like that? You're using similar pots. You bought healthy plants. You're even excited and attentive. And yet somehow your soil stays wet for days. Leaves slowly turn yellow and the harvest never quite lives up to your expectations. You're definitely not alone. Container gardening looks simple on the surface. A pot, some soil, a plant. But behind that simplicity are a few crucial rules. Miss them, and even the strongest plants quietly struggle. Follow them, and suddenly everything changes. Tonight, we're uncovering the first two mistakes you should never make when growing plants in containers. These errors don't shout, they whisper, slowly draining life from your plants until one day you realize something's wrong. Let's start at the very foundation. 1. Using the wrong soil where most problems begin. If container gardening has a hidden enemy, it's poor soil. This mistake is incredibly common because it feels logical. You might scoop soil straight from your garden, fill a beautiful pot, plant something fresh and green, water generously, and picture a thriving mini-jungle within weeks. But instead, growth stalls. Leaves fade from rich green to pale yellow. The plant seems tired. Tiny flies hover near the soil surface. And when curiosity finally wins and you tip the plant out, you're hit with a sour smell and roots that are brown, soft, and lifeless instead of firm and white. That's the wrong soil at work. Garden soil is designed for open ground, not containers. In nature, soil layers drain freely and are constantly refreshed by air, microbes, and deep root systems. Inside a pot, that same soil becomes heavy and compacted. Water lingers, air disappears. Roots lose access to oxygen now, and once roots can't breathe, decline is inevitable. In containers, roots don't just absorb water and nutrients, they rely on tiny air spaces between soil particles to survive. When those spaces collapse, the roots suffocate. Rot follows. The plant fades. This is why container plants need a true potting mix, not regular soil. A proper mix stays loose and airy while still holding enough moisture to sustain growth. Ingredients like cocoa coir or peat moss keep hydration steady without smothering roots. Perlite, pumice, or vermiculite maintain airflow and drainage. Compost feeds the plant and supports beneficial microbes that keep the root zone alive. Think of a pot as a sealed world. Soil texture controls everything: oxygen, water movement, nutrient access, and root health. When that balance is off, nothing else can compensate. A simple, reliable mix looks like this: 1 part compost for nutrition, 1 part cocoa coir or peat moss for moisture balance, 1 part perlite or pumice for drainage and air. You can fine-tune it too. Fine-tune it. Add extra perlite for succulents and herbs that prefer dry roots, or a little more coir for moisture-loving vegetables like tomatoes and peppers. Also remember, potting mix doesn't last forever. Over time it breaks down, compacts, and loses its structure. Even if it looks fine on top, it may be choking roots below. Reusing old soil without refreshing it invites pests, disease, and poor growth. Mixing in fresh compost can help, but for sensitive plants, starting with new mix. Each season makes a world of difference. Here's the reality: soil isn't just a place to anchor a plant. It's the engine that powers everything above it. When it's right, plants respond quickly. Leaves lift, color deepens, growth becomes steady and confident. Good soil isn't optional, it's the beginning of success. 2. Overwatering, when care turns into damage. This mistake doesn't come from neglect, it comes from love. You don't want your plants to suffer, so you water often, maybe daily. You see a drooping leaf and assume thirst, so you add more water, and then more, hoping to help. But below the surface, the opposite is happening. In a container, excess water has nowhere to go. It pools around the roots, filling the air spaces they need to breathe. Oxygen disappears, roots suffocate. Rot creeps in quietly. By the time symptoms show, the damage is already underway. The tricky part is how deceptive it looks. An overwatered plant often droops just like a thirsty one. Leaves curl, stems soften. Growth stalls. So people water again, accelerating the problem. That's why seasoned gardeners often say plants die more often from kindness than neglect. The solution isn't less water, it's better timing. When you water, water deeply. Let it flow until it drains freely from the bottom of the pot. Then stop. Don't water again until the top inch of soil feels dry to the touch. That small pause allows oxygen back into the root zone and prevents rot from setting in. If your pot has no drainage holes, that's a serious issue. Without an escape route, water builds up and roots drown. Drill holes or keep plants in nursery pots that drain properly and place those inside decorative containers. Another key rule: never water by schedule. Weather, sunlight, and temperature change constantly. Hot summer days may demand frequent watering. Cool or cloudy conditions may not. Always let the soil and the plant guide you, not the calendar. Also, be careful not to confuse dryness with low humidity. In dry indoor air, leaves may wilt even when soil is moist. Adding more water won't help. Increasing humidity will. Light misting or placing a pebble tray with water nearby often solves the problem instantly. Drainage matters more than most people realize. A thin layer of gravel can help keep holes clear, but it won't fix bad soil or poor drainage design. Airy potting mix and open holes do the real work, and always empty saucers after watering. Standing water encourages fungus gnats, mosquitoes, and root rot. Think of watering as a cycle. Deep drink, then time to breathe. Once you find that rhythm, everything changes. Leaves become firm and glossy. New growth appears. Plants stop struggling and start thriving. Remember this: water less often but more thoroughly. Roots need oxygen just as much as moisture. 3. Choosing the wrong container, how pot size and material. Decide your plant's fate. Let's be real, and when you first get into container gardening, those cute little pots are incredibly tempting. Garden shops and social media are full of tiny tomato plants in teacups and lemon trees, squeezed into decorative bowls, and it all looks charming and effortless. But here's the truth most photos don't show. What looks pretty on a screen often fails miserably in real life. Plants aren't decorations, they're living systems, and most of their life happens underground. When a container is too small, the roots hit the walls quickly and begin circling around the pot. Over time, they tangle and choke themselves in a condition known as being root-bound. Once that happens, the plant can't absorb water or nutrients efficiently. Leaves yellow, growth slows dramatically, and no amount of watering seems to help. The plant always looks thirsty, tired, and stuck. Small containers create another hidden problem: instability. Water drains out too fast before roots have time to absorb it. Nutrients wash away just as quickly. The soil heats up rapidly in the sun, stressing roots and disrupting growth. The plant ends up in a constant state of survival instead of thriving. So how do you get it right? It comes down to matching the pot to the plant's true needs. Herbs and leafy greens like basil, parsley, and lettuce need containers at least 6 to 8 inches deep to stay healthy. Fruit-bearing plants such as tomatoes, peppers, and eggplants require 12 to 18 inches of depth, so roots can spread and support heavy growth. Larger plants and dwarf fruit trees, citrus, blueberries, figs, need a minimum of 20 inches deep, and more is always better. Here's a rule that rarely fails. When in doubt, choose the bigger pot. Larger containers don't just provide space, they create stability. They hold moisture longer, buffer temperature swings, and give roots a consistent environment where they can grow strong and deep. Material matters too, and each option has its strengths. Terracotta and clay pots breathe beautifully, allowing air to reach roots. Excellent for plants that hate wet soil. The downside is they dry out fast, which can be challenging for thirsty crops. Plastic pots are lightweight and retain moisture well, making them ideal for hot climates or gardeners who forget to water. Just watch out for dark colors in direct sun, as they can overheat roots. Fabric grow bags are fantastic for root health. They allow constant airflow and naturally prevent root circling, producing dense, healthy root systems. They do dry out faster, so watering needs to be more frequent. Wooden planters offer a natural look and good insulation. Choose rot-resistant wood like cedar and line the interior to extend its lifespan. And no matter what container you choose, one rule is non-negotiable: drainage. A pot without drainage holes is a root rot trap. Excess water pools at the bottom, oxygen disappears, and roots suffocate. Always make sure water can escape freely. If you fall in love with a decorative container that doesn't have holes, use it as an outer shell. Place a smaller pot with proper drainage inside it. You'll get the look you want without sacrificing plant health. Think of a container as your plant's home. Cramped, airless spaces weaken life. Roomy, breathable homes support it. The takeaway is simple. The right container doesn't just hold a plant, it supports its entire system. Give roots space, choose breathable materials, ensure good drainage, and your plants will reward you with stronger growth, richer color, and far better harvests. 4. Ignoring light requirements. The sunlight mistake. That slowly kills plants. Light is the most underestimated factor in container gardening, and one of the most destructive when misunderstood. Many gardeners bring home new plants, line them up on a balcony or patio, water them faithfully, and wait for results. Some explode with growth, others fade, and a few simply stall. The difference isn't luck, it's light. Here's the reality. Plants don't all want the same relationship with the sun. Some crave intense exposure while others weaken under it. Treat them all the same and half your garden will struggle. Let's talk about sun-loving plants first. Tomatoes, peppers, eggplants, cucumbers, strawberries, and most fruiting crops need 6 to 8 hours of direct sunlight every day. That means strong, unobstructed sun, not dappled shade or light filtered through a window. These plants turn sunlight straight into flowers and fruit. Cut the light short and you cut the harvest. Fewer flowers form, fruits stay small, and growth slows no matter how much you water or feed. Then there are plants that prefer a softer approach. Leafy greens like lettuce, spinach, arugula, kale, and herbs such as parsley actually suffer in intense sun. Too much heat pushes them to bolt. They shoot upward, flower too early, and turn bitter. These plants thrive with morning sun and afternoon shade, where they stay cool and productive longer. If you're growing on a balcony or indoors, direction matters more than people realize. South-facing spaces get the strongest, longest sun, ideal for fruiting plants. East-facing areas receive gentle morning light, perfect for greens and herbs. North-facing spots are usually too dim for vegetables, but work for shade-tolerant plants like mint, ferns, or decorative foliage. Your plants will tell you when light is wrong and if you know how to read the signs. Tall, thin, weak stems mean the plant is starving for light and stretching desperately toward it. Crispy edges, scorched patches, or curled leaves usually signal too much sun or heat. Compact growth, sturdy stems, and rich green color mean you've nailed it. If your space doesn't get enough natural sunlight, that doesn't mean you're out of options. Modern LED grow lights have completely changed container gardening. They replicate the spectrum plants need to grow, flower, and fruit, even indoors or on shaded balconies. With timers and low energy use, they can run 12 to 16 hours a day and keep plants thriving year-round. Another thing many gardeners forget: sunlight shifts with the seasons. A spot that's perfect in spring can fall into deep shade by summer as trees leaf out or the sun's angle changes. Be willing to move your containers. Plants don't mind relocation, they mind poor light. Here's a smart bonus trick: light reflection. White walls, mirrors, or even foil-lined boards can bounce extra light into darker areas. This can dramatically improve growth in tight indoor spaces or narrow balconies. The core truth is simple and unforgiving. Sunlight is food. You can water perfectly and fertilize like a pro, but without the right light, plants slowly weaken and fail. Once you match each plant to the light it actually needs, giving shade to those that prefer rest and full exposure to those that crave intensity, your container garden stops surviving and starts thriving. Because growing plants isn't just about pots and soil, it's about understanding how they eat through light. 5. Forgetting to feed. The quiet starvation that slowly weakens your plants. This is one of the most underestimated, yet most destructive, mistakes in container gardening. You may water faithfully, adjust sunlight, and even check on your plants every day, but if you forget to feed them, you're slowly depriving them of the fuel they need to survive. Here's the reality many gardeners miss. Plants growing in the ground have freedom. Their roots stretch outward and downward, tapping into layers of soil rich with minerals, organic matter, worms, fungi, and microbes that constantly recycle nutrients. Nature feeds them automatically. Plants in containers don't have that luxury. A pot is a closed system. Your plant is locked into a limited volume of soil, and once the nutrients in that soil are used up or washed away, there is nothing left. Every bit of food your plant receives must come from you. At the beginning, everything looks perfect. Fresh potting mix is full of nutrients, growth is fast, leaves are deep green, and the plant looks strong. But that phase is short-lived. Most potting mixes only contain enough nutrients for a few weeks. With every watering, nutrients leach out through the drainage holes. Within a month, the soil can become biologically empty. That's when the slow decline begins. Leaves lose their rich color and turn pale or yellow. Growth stalls. Flowers fail to form or drop early. Fruit stays small or never develops at all. The plant looks tired and unresponsive no matter how much you water. Many gardeners blame light or watering when the real issue is simple. The plant is hungry. Proper feeding starts before the plant even goes into the pot. When filling containers, mix compost or a slow-release fertilizer directly into the potting mix. This creates a nutritional foundation that feeds the plant steadily over time. Slow-release fertilizers are especially useful because they dissolve gradually, supplying nutrients for weeks or even months. But that's only the baseline. As plants grow, their demand for nutrients increases. Especially fast growers and heavy producers like tomatoes, peppers, strawberries, and flowering plants. To keep up, you'll need to feed regularly throughout the growing season, usually every 2 to 3 weeks, using a liquid fertilizer. For general growth, a balanced fertilizer such as 10-10-10 or 20-20-20 works well. This provides equal parts nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, the 3 core nutrients plants rely on. Nitrogen supports leafy growth, phosphorus strengthens roots and flowers, and potassium improves overall vigor and disease resistance. Once flowering and fruiting begin, feeding needs change. At this stage, switch to a formula higher in phosphorus and potassium. These nutrients encourage blooms to set properly and help fruits develop fully, rather than pushing excessive leaf growth. If you prefer natural or organic methods, there are excellent options that work beautifully in containers. Worm castings gently enrich the soil, improve structure, and support beneficial microbes. Compost tea delivers fast, biologically active nutrition directly to the roots. Banana peel water provides potassium for flowering and fruiting plants. Fish emulsion and seaweed extract offer a broad range of nutrients and trace elements without harsh effects on roots. No matter which method you choose, pay attention to what your plants are telling you. Yellow or pale leaves usually indicate nitrogen deficiency. Poor flowering or lack of fruit points to low phosphorus. Weak stems and dull foliage suggest potassium shortage. Brown tips or stunted growth may signal salt buildup from overfeeding. This brings up an important balance. More fertilizer is not better. Dumping large amounts into the soil can burn roots and cause long-term damage. Plants respond best to light, consistent feeding, small doses given regularly. Think of fertilizer like fuel. You wouldn't fill your car once and expect it to run for months. You refuel steadily to keep it performing well. Plants work the same way. Every new leaf, every stem, every flower and fruit is built from nutrients. Without a continuous supply, even the strongest plant will slowly fade. In container gardening, feeding isn't optional, it's survival. Combine good soil, slow-release nutrition at planting, regular liquid feeding, and occasional organic support, and your plants will stay green, productive, and full of life. Because when plants live in pots, you're not just helping them grow, you are their entire ecosystem.